culture is superior to another. Whatever your language is, whatever your tradition is, it is not superior to any other. Culture, as we know, has been in existence since man came into existence. And today we are still practicing it. Through culture, we all are governed by norms and customs, which are the pillars of the society. Every individual in this hall this afternoon has a distinguished attitude, distinguished behavior, as well as traits. Through cultural integration, we learn to associate and interact with people and live together as brothers and sisters. Of course, that is what we want in this nation. We want to be together as brothers and sisters, irrespective of our tradition, irrespective of our cultures. It is important to appreciate our culture. Also to note that culture is not static. It changes. Just as human beings are developing and changing, our culture too is changing. If this setting was to be in the olden days, let's say about 50 years ago, I'm sure what we have here today will not be the same thing we will have had then. In terms of dressing, in terms of food, in terms of every other thing that we are known for. It must be well understood that we all must strive to preserve our culture. Preserving our culture does not mean respecting other people's culture. Rather, it means that we must all work together to ensure that we pass on to the next generation that which defines us, that which tells others who we are. And that is what we are celebrating here today. It is only through appreciation of each other's culture that we will be in harmony in our society. I want to encourage us, each and every one of us. I've mentioned that culture is not static, so we should not allow ourselves to be prisoners of retrogressive cultures. Of course, there are some cultures that are very retrogressive, and I believe, I know, gradually we are dropping those and we are moving forward with the ones that will move us forward. Inasmuch as we do not condemn speaking of English language and the conscious attempt being made by individuals to pronounce words the way they should be pronounced, which is what we stand for as a school. I want to also encourage us, our parents, please try and interact with your children in your native languages. You know, while the parade was going on, I remember the MC saying that they are not speaking to us, they are not talking to us. Yes, they didn't talk to us. I was expecting them to come out here as an Igbo girl, boy, you greet us in your language. Say one or two things in your native language. But they didn't do that. Well, I wouldn't know. Maybe because they can't speak their languages or because we didn't tell them. But one thing I know, so many young individuals in this hall today that are representing different tribes may not be able to speak fluently their native languages. And parents, this is for us now. Let us go home. Try to speak your languages to them. That thing which defines you, that which you know, let's pass on to our children. That is the only way we can preserve our culture and our language. As we celebrate our cultural diversity here today, let me remind us that it is important that we preserve our cultural property in this country, Nigeria, because that is our identity. Some of our great cultural properties that stand as testimonies to the rich cultural history and heritage remain out of sight and out of the reach of the young ones in our midst. Yes, as a parent, I know my culture. What about my children? Do they know, can they pronounce or can they say the names of local dishes? local implements, maybe farm implements, whatever it is that we use in our locality, can they be able to stand and tell me this is this in this language? This is called something in this language. What I'm holding is this in this language. Let this be a wake-up call to all parents here this afternoon. Our culture must not die. We must preserve our culture, and we must pass on to our children the cultures that we have gotten from our parents. Cultural Day is a day set aside for us to look at the different cultures, not just ours. As we will see here today, you will see different cultures, different individuals from different groups, showcasing what they have. And that is why, as a school, from time to time, we gather these young ones together. We try to tell them, okay, this is where you come from. Dress to showcase your culture. Let your parents bring food that represent the food they eat in their locality. And I'm glad we are all buying into that, and that is why we are all here today. So a cultural day like this helps us to gain new perspective on the lives of others around us, as well as around the world. It also helps us to identify and understand our identity. We will not lose our identity. With the influx of current culture, many of us are already losing our identity. But I want us to hold on to our culture. Hold on to it and pass it on to your children. A cultural day like this also helps us to celebrate different cultural groups. What we have in common, what we share in common as different groups, we showcase on a day like this. It also helps us to understand people and their background. If I don't know that in the Yoruba culture, if a boy is to greet an elder, he needs to prostrate. The first time I'll see it, I might be surprised, and I'll keep wondering, what is this boy doing? But by relating and associating with other tribes, I'm able to appreciate that aspect of their culture. Especially, I want to thank and appreciate all our parents here today for preparing different delicacies, as can be seen in your various localities. We are proud of you. We are glad you're here today, celebrating with us, considering the present economic situation in the country. You also helped in dressing the young ones. Look at how beautiful they look. All our students looking gorgeous in their traditional outfits. We want to say a special thanks to our parents. Thank you so much for honoring us. And I pray that God will bless all of us abundantly in the name of Jesus. Today, our students and our pupils are going to take us on a tour around the country and also around the world, because I can see we have different cultural groups from other parts of the world, not just Nigeria. My intention here is not to bore you with long speech, not at all. But I want to present to us the occasion why we are gathered here today, our Cultural Day celebration. As I declare this Cultural Day open, I urge us, all parents, let's sit back, relax, and enjoy this great occasion. Thank you all for listening to me. Let the day begin.